So this interview is part of your French Aromatherapy class, which is opening this September, and I would love to hear just a little bit more about the program, if you'd be willing to share.
Okay, hi Cathy. So I see this course as a blending. It's called French Aromatherapy, but I kind of see it more of a blending of paths. You know, we're doing it together, Jade and I, so this sort of blending of different experiences into something that people can learn from and take forward. It's a blending, but it's not stuck in time. It's blending the past to show something and share something in the present that can then be brought into the future, because everything at the moment is moving very quickly. The world's got smaller, communication between everybody is far more fluid. So in a way it seems a natural progression to come together and share something and propose it to other people who can then take it onwards.
Excellent. Anything you want to add to that, Jade? Just a little more details maybe about what the program is going to cover?
So I feel like this program is just really encompassing or uncovering, rather, I should say, at least for many of us, what French aromatherapy is, what aromatic medicine is, kind of pulling back the curtain, so to speak, because there just seems to be so many misconceptions about what happens there, that it's strictly medical versus what I have learned is far more actually holistic. And I think it's a joining ground of the French and the Anglo-Saxon. So this program is designed to shed light, to deepen the knowledge and the understanding of really all of our foundations within the aromatherapy community. You know, because it began in France. The very name of aromatherapy was coined in France. So I just feel this program really honors that. And then, like Cathy was saying, will be a launching ground, so to speak, of a future integration between the French and the Anglo-Saxon models of aromatherapy.
So what is the difference between Anglo-Saxon or English aromatherapy and French aromatherapy?
Okay, so French aromatherapy is a very large kind of phrase, and all I can say is that I'm sharing my knowledge as a French herbalist. And in the herbal training in France, I trained in the École Lyonnaise de Plantes Médicinales, which is the biggest herbal school in France. Aromatherapy is an integral part of the training, so in the herbalist toolbox, aromatherapy is a major tool. But you know, beyond that, France is a big country with a long history in aromatherapy. So there are different segments even within the country, obviously. But yeah, it's important to clarify that the element that I'm going to be bringing to this program is from my experience as a herbalist using essential oils within the scope of herbal practice.
So, Cathy, you, though you have an English accent, and clearly are English, were trained in France in aromatherapy,
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
And then Jade, you were actually trained in England in aromatherapy. So do you want to talk a little bit about your experience with that and how you're going to weave that in or differentiate?
So I was trained in England, and I was actually trained there in 1989. And the model for kind of English aromatherapy has not really changed so much, although certainly the information is a lot more in depth than when I was trained. And that kind of model or framework integrates massage, emphasis on olfaction, a lot to do more with stress reduction as a means of facilitating self-healing or the healing mechanism that we all have. And then we used mostly dermal external applications. So a lot of it had to do with massage or reflexology and using different diagnostic tools like reflexology or applied kinesiology or iridology. So the English model, and an important thing that differentiated the two was that, of course, we were taught not to use essential oils internally, even though over the years, for sure, there have been some schools in England that have offered some classes on aromatic medicine. The framework, even today, is still a traditional model where it's through the massage, through dermal application. And I would say most world aromatherapy associations almost forbid or are against internal use. So I think that to me is a really important thing for us to begin understanding more about. But that's the English model for the most part.
Is the dermal application.
The dermal, the
and
external and olfactory. So, you know, it could be applied to the skin or diffused into the environment.
So then in the French aromatherapy course, you're really introducing a lot of internal applications.
It's a part of the course, but I wouldn't say that it's the central part. It's as much part of the course as it is part of herbal and aromatic medicine in France. So it's an important part, but the course is much larger than that.
Who did you create this course for, and what is your aim in this course?
So my original decision or idea of who would be interested in this course came from just observing what was happening in social media, that there's a lot of differences of opinions, there's a lot of misconceptions, like I said earlier, about what French aromatherapy is, whether it's, you know, readily accessible to the public, you know, if you need to be a medical doctor. So it just seemed, at least within the North American market, there was a lot of misunderstanding happening. And it's surprising, I guess it surprised me that all these years there's been so little exposure to what's happening in France with essential oils for so long. You know, it's like this veil has been over France, like, ooh, what's there? It's like maintain this mystique. And, you know, so through observation of conversations, through the rise of an internal use, in many countries actually, so certainly I observe it personally here in North America, but just in this year's travels I've heard you know, internal use in as far as Slovenia and Germany and England and Ireland, you know, I'm sure all over the world, in Taiwan, and there's very little training happening. So what's happened since we've kind of begun to let people know about the course is people from all over the world have signed up. I mean, it's remarkable. People from Brazil and Austria and Switzerland and Italy and France and Germany and Canada and just New Zealand, Australia. So to me that reflected that there's a thirst or a desire to understand that model of aromatherapy and to inspire with new information or a new way of looking at something. So it's been really well received, and yeah.
So do you feel like it is students who are already fairly experienced in aromatherapy that are really responding to this, or are these like beginner level?
I do. I think a lot of it is aromatherapists who have not, or who've wanted to learn more about internal use, but the education hasn't been there. So I think it's trained aromatherapists wanting to deepen how they're applying or using the essential oils for their clients or for themselves. But there's also kind of this newer group of people, at least in North America, who are utilizing essential oils, who could really gain from having more education, not only from a foundations point of view, but also internal use, kind of more of a framework on how to do that safely and effectively.
So with deepening that knowledge for everyone, are you going to be exposing them to like a whole bunch of new essential oils, or like you know, what essential oils are going to be included in this class and why?
It's not really what essentials are going to be included in the class, it's the way in which I'm going to try and look at the essential oils. So the essential oils are well-known essentials for the most part, but one of the things that I work on a lot and that's important for me and has been for many years is the big question for me is, what is it to know a plant? So we can transcribe that into what is it to know an essential oil as being part of a plant. And somehow this question has niggled me for a long time, and I've always wanted to get deeper and deeper into this question. So part of what I'm going to be looking at in terms of the essential oils is kind of bridge building, which is what we're doing, and what a big part of my life and my work is building different bridges. So again, even within the small question of how we're going to look at the oils and what oils are we looking at, I'm going to be trying to build bridges between, the molecular aspect of an essential oil and how that affects activity. And then I'm going to use what's called the referential. It's a graph that was proposed by Pierre Franchomme, and it's based on the electrical charge of essential oils and their polarity. And then we're going to look a little bit about the energetics of each essential. That is really a big part for me, but it's important to have a solid foundation before moving on to that, so that it's based, so we don't go away with the fairies, that it's actually the energetic aspect of essential oils is based on something solid. And so we're going to really work on making this bridge between molecule, electrical charge, and energetics. So we provide this foundation and a model that people can use to explore other oils. And then we're hoping to go on. I mean, I'm really excited about doing another program looking deeply at the energetics and how we can approach an oil at another level, or many different levels, in fact. So yeah, I'm really excited about the work on the essentials, and what I've tried to do is choose an oil that somehow represents, for one reason or another, each of the main molecular families, so that this will give students a chance to really get into that. What's it about? What do the molecular families do as an activity in the plant, and how is that linked to the activity in our organism? And then, as I said, going through the different aspects. So that's a big part of the course. It's how to approach an oil, rather than it just being something sort of light and superficial. I want to go deeper into that.
I think for both Cathy and I, my sense since we've met is that we both really want to deepen a relationship. And it seems to be another idea that is showing up in many individuals, whether it's something like you're doing, relational aromatherapy, or Roxana Villa is talking about. Like, it's all more about us really getting to know the essential oil, getting to know the plant. It's like we may right now be experiencing too much emphasis just on the chemistry, because we feel validated finally that there's some chemistry to support what we've been saying. But that's just one aspect of an essential oil. And with so many other aspects, we can't look at science to confirm that. We have to look within ourselves. We have to honor our experiences and our observation of how that essential oil has affected either our client or ourselves. And then just so many other aspects to look at, the energetics. And I think as we develop through this program and then through the energetics, I think that's going to provide that doorway for people to really be deeper, because it's not so much like there's mystique about the essential oils within the French aromatherapy model. It's more about us feeling confident that we know 5, 10, 12, essential oils. We don't need 100 or 200. And it takes a long time to get to know each individual essential oil. So I think that's kind of woven throughout the program as well, like just really embracing. We cover 18, that's a lot. So the goal will be to, like those 18 you're going to know really well from many different angles, through this course, through the energetics course, through some of the other programs we offer. I think, through your own guidance.
And what brought the two of you together and ultimately inspired you to create this class together?
So I will begin because I got an email. Actually, I got a message on Facebook over a year ago from someone who had seen Cathy speak at the
2 years ago.
2 years ago, yep. So 2 years ago at the International Herb Conference that Rosemary Gladstar puts on at Wheaton College in Norton, Mass. And a friend wrote and just said, I just saw this incredible woman speak, and she said, I feel so energized, and she presented things in a new way, and and I was like, ooh, must meet, right? Like, who is this woman? What does she teach? And so I immediately looked up Cathy Skipper and sent her an email via Facebook, and we just connected. I mean, right away there was just some sense of knowingness, or like I like this person. I like what I see, even though I haven't met her. So we did start communicating via email. She spoke I was the president of the National Association for Holistic Aromatherapy, and she spoke for us at our World of Aromatherapy 7th conference in September of last year. So that was 2014. And it was amazing. I mean, she gave 2 talks. She filled in for a herbalist who was unable to make the class, and just inspired people with plants, and all of her talks were just really inspiring. So, and I think she brought to us, I guess the way one of the conference attendees summed it up, and I feel like Cathy very much influenced that perception, is I came here to learn how to heal other people. I'm leaving here learning how to heal myself. And I think Cathy was a huge part of that, just making people more aware of their own healing. And ever since then, we've stayed in touch. I went to France to study with her and Seven Song for a French herbal aromatherapy program. So it was really fantastic to actually witness, to go to the herbal school where she trained and is now teaching, to go see her gardens that are part of the school, and just to be more present with what was happening in France. And during that time, we were getting, we wanted to work together anyways, and just through our discussions there and prior to that, we knew we wanted to peel the veil back and put this information out for the world to be more knowledgeable about kind of that cultural approach to aromatherapy. Yeah. And I do feel very blessed and
me
honored
too.
to
Me
be
too.
working with Cathy.
Yeah.
So.
No, for me, it's working with Jade. It feels there's a really good dialogue, so I feel safe. I don't feel that I'm expected to be or fulfill a certain role, and that we both kind of agree on the major way that both of our paths are going. So it seems logical to do something together, and we have skills that work well together. So we complement each other, and I think in today's world, again, it's about building bridges. So we're building a bridge between countries, we're building a bridge between our different skills, we're building a bridge between our hearts, because that's part of it. I don't want to work with in a situation where I don't feel full of love. So all that's really important, and I feel within the context in which we're doing this program and the work that we've done together, at ease. So thank you, Jade.
So I'll ask each of you, what are the important things, or what is the important thing that you each hope to get out of this course, or what you're doing by creating this course?
For me, the most important thing is bringing essentials back into context, and a context that allows them to be used and understood from where they come from. So so bring the plant back in, bring the herbs back in, see how they blend with all that, where they're coming from, how they blend with the herbs, and how we can use them as part of a toolbox for plant medicine, and not as this isolated, disconnected element that's been made into some kind of industry. For me, they're a plant preparation, so they're a plant medicine. And the word medicine and industry, personally, are rather opposing. So I understand that everybody has to make a living, but on a personal level, the healing comes first and the living follows, because if you're doing the right thing. So that's one of the main things, is to bring them back into a context, build these little bridges between the plants, you know, the herb and the oil, the different ways we can use them, all the little, the flower essences, all the other tools in the herbal toolbox, and humbly move forward, talking about healing and plant medicine rather than fighting about companies and industry.
For me, I mean, this has been an incredible journey. You know, from the time Cathy and I began talking, I think it goes beyond just this course, but just looking at the course, I want to feel that we contributed to people's knowledge. I want to feel like that we facilitated what our goal is, which is to deepen that relationship. I don't mean to keep saying that, but I think that's such a huge thing. Internal use and some other uses seem to be so radical, and yet they're really actually quite simple extensions of the work that we do with the plants or the herbs or the essential oils or the hydrosols. So for people to feel more empowered, for me to feel more empowered, not just in my practice, but with my own self-care, for my family, for my friends, and for my students, you know, for the people taking this course, to feel more confident, have more knowledge and respect and honor for themselves, for the essential oils, and for our ability to use them for self-healing as well as from a practitioner perspective.